Democratic strategist James Carville said Wednesday on MSNBC's The Beat that he was scared to death about the election and that the Harris-Walz campaign needed to be much more aggressive. Carville said, "Only thing I feel is the elapsy of coming November 5th, and I'm scared to death." Host Ari Melber asked, "You're not in a reflective mood." Carville said, "I'm not in a particularly reflective mood right now. I'm very concerned." Melber said, "What does Harris need to do with the month left?" Carville said, "She doesn't have a month left. We've got 26 days. Today is gone, and you are going to lose another 4 in a hurricane. Just subtract that. We're going to get blank on that. So you're not going to get much out for the next 4 days. And everything kind of shuts down the Saturday before the election. So you're really probably under 20 days that you have to really get a message out. They need to be sharp. They need to be aggressive. They need to stop answering questions and start asking questions." He added, "I think she and the whole campaign needs to be much more aggressive and much less passive than they are."
That was his joke. There is all types of disinfo. You know how I try to be fair.
Right.
I mentioned there's a history of exaggeration in politics. But do you notice, and why is it, as a political expert, can you tell us, that so much of the storm disinfo is going right? This is not random conspiracy theories. It's right-wing, anti-science misinfo in a Trump party that has been bred and acculturated to misinfo where they don't care what's true.
Colbert's a great man. Let me tell you who might have been a greater man, Mark Twain, who said the lie will go around the world 2 times before the truth can get its shoes on. We got to tie our shoes here because it's out there. And they have a propensity to believe any goofy thing that comes out. Look at all of this information that came out during the pandemic.
So they've been softened up to this.
Yes. And they're totally prepared to believe anything that they're told. And the only way to deal with it is you have to be up on it and you have to get ahead of it. And they have to do these press briefings every morning. And Mitch should say, call Fox and say, "I want you to know I'm available to go on any show you want me on. And if you have any theory, I'm happy to answer it."
You mentioned Fox. And we have an actual PSA up because we have viewers in Florida and the impacted region as well as around the country. We are telling everyone to be careful. I am going to show something that is false. That was questioned on Fox, but I want people to understand that's what you're about to see, a false report from a Trump ally, aide, lawyer, and a little bit of light pushback. Take a look.
There are babies floating in the water, and we're on podcasts. That's what the Harris team is doing. So I think what Cedric's doing is completely irresponsible.
Where did you see that report of a baby floating in the water?
We have absolutely heard there are children floating. There's missing bodies, dead bodies. We know that. There are dead people. We're up to 250.
32.
Yeah, 32. Thank you.
Well, she's not right yet, but there will be dead people floating out there. Because the mayor of Tampa said if you stay, you will die. And there's a good chance you will. And no one is going to come to get you because they're going to be very busy. That's true. And one more point about this storm. They're talking about it's now Category 3. Katrina that hit New Orleans, John Barry told me he believes it was either a weak 2 or strong 1. But because it was a 5, it built up an enormous wall of water. So if you're in that area, if you're in Southwest Florida, Central West Florida, don't take a lot of solace in the fact that it's dropped from a 5 to a 3.
Absolutely.
Because that water is coming at you and coming at you hard, and get out of the way.
Do you see any potential desperation here in the sense of, they need to find narratives and ways to attack the Biden-Harris administration because they're worried? Or do you see what we hear from a lot of people, and I've told viewers, is still an incredibly tight race in the key states?
It's an incredibly tight race in key states. We saw what happened in North Carolina, where a conservative Republican congressman had to put out a statement and said, all this stuff you hear, it's just not true. You're going to hear more of this. It is inevitable. They're already starting. How can you have an event like this that just happenstance? Somebody is doing this, then some Democrat is controlling something. And that's why I think it's essential that you deal with this in real time. Real time.
We got a little more from the documentary. We deal with the serious here, and it's been a serious day in America, and everyone, again, is trying to get prepared and hope for the best while preparing for the worst. But this documentary goes all the way from the old school stuff we showed all the way up to this year. I'm told I have not been able to screen the whole thing but our researchers found that we see you when you're gearing up to do television. And boy, what a year, because I know how close you are with top Democrats. I know that you and President Biden have had a good, long relationship, yes? Fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, I like it, but he was a good president, yeah.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
I know that the White House listens to you, and we went through debates over Biden's position, over the debate. You had the switch. You are one of the gurus. I don't know if these, anybody can say, any one person, you, Pelosi, anyone does anything. But if there's a list of top Dems, you're one of them. And so it shows you kind of working TV, MSNBC, all of it. Let's take one more look at the doc.
I don't think we're going to get any closer than this. We'll just walk from here. I got to get to 30 Rock to do a television hit.
Yeah. You trying to get to MS?
Yes, ma'am.
You want me to walk you over?
I would love if you walked me over.
James Carville is our special guest on a big political night. The Biden campaign just released this photo.
It's an exciting time to be in Manhattan.
Yeah, it's across the street. What does it mean to have these three together for the Democratic Party?
It's historic, and I think the party is starting to gel, to come together. But we're not going to replicate the 2020 coalition.
Some of that talk that I know gets people riled up. When you watch the doc now, how do you feel looking at the measure of your own life backed up against 70-plus years of American history?
Only thing I feel is the election's coming November 5th. And I'm scared to death, and I'll get a time to, obviously...
You're not in a reflective mood?
Not in a particular reflective mood right now. I'm very, very concerned and very
What does
scared.
Harris need to do with the month left?
All right, 7 months left. Let's start. We got 26 days.
Yep.
Today is gone. You're going to lose 4th of the hurricane. Just subtract that. We're going to get blank. You're not going to be able to get much out for the next 4 days. So, and everything kind of shuts down to Saturday before the election. So you're really probably under 20 days that you have to really get a message out. They need to be sharp. They need to be aggressive. They need to stop answering questions and start asking questions. They're doing all this and sitting down with 60 Minutes and sitting down with Colbert and sitting down with... No matter what, if I come on your show, you're going to ask me the question.
That's true.
If I have a press conference, I get to ask the question.
You'd like to see her do more press conferences?
I'd like her to put more things in play. Like
where she's out driving it.
Out saying, what is J.D. Vance talking about that Trump saved Obamacare, tried to destroy at every point? I would put President Obama out to make that. He's only got a 92% approval with Democrats. He only is the father of 23 million people having insurance. I would have President Clinton going on these local TV stations talking about how tariffs are going to destroy the economy of Wisconsin or Michigan or anywhere else, because they have never worked. But we're just letting that go. And I think she and the whole campaign needs to be much more aggressive and much less passive than they are.
I asked you to look backward, and you took your time and chose to look forward. And maybe that's something we could all learn from you, sir. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
James Carville, always a pleasure. When we come back, Harris's strategy is trying to use